everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Amanda N, and today we're going to talk about Iele. Not eel as in the fish, but Iele as in the feminine mythical creatures in Romanian mythology. My editor Julia actually recommended this to me, and I've honestly never heard of them before, but I thought it would be interesting to explore some strange creatures from all over the world. So let's start with where they come from. Some claim that the Iele, come from the souls of women who were cursed and never managed to find peace, while others say they are the guardians of nature. And others still say they are the daughters of Alexander the Great, and others call them Dacian high priestesses. Sources don't agree at all, to say the least, and the origin of their name isn't all that clear either. The most agreed upon or accepted answer is that their name comes from Iele, meaning them, in feminine, as in referring to a group of women. Apparently, these women are only visible at night. They enjoy dancing in soft, translucent dresses with loose hair and eerily beautiful features and bodies. Those that claim to have seen them say they prefer walking in groups of 3, 5, 7, or 9, and their favorite places are lonely cliffs, mountains, glacial lakes, and sunny meadows. According to one source, where they dance, the grass disappears, the earth remains burnt, and the circle becomes a sign of their passing. If someone crosses that place, he will get immediately ill forever. Even animals don't dare walk on those burnt pieces of land and avoid them as something unseen is still there, keeping away any living creature for many years to come. It is also believed that Iele prefer to bathe not only in lakes, but in people's fountains, water buckets, or even people's cups or glasses. This is probably why many people prefer to use lids or deposit their cups upside down. Although this source claims that they're not evil, just everything they touch becomes dangerous, it also says that they severely punish any men that spy on them dancing, even mutilating them or leaving them mute forever. I wouldn't say this makes them harmless, personally, but sources about them aren't in agreement about their origins, though interestingly enough they have become famous by other names, such as Vila in Harry Potter. Introduced in Book 4, the women were breathtakingly magical and hypnotic, though they turned wicked and threw fire in the book when angered. They also had more bird-like faces and beaks. The Vila in the book were rooting for the Bulgarians, and both Romania and Bulgarian lore shares many similar roots. It's also possible that they're connected to elves in the Western world, as one author speculates. This source also adds, one of my favorite Romanian stories about Iele is that they used to be the daughters of an emperor called Rusalem, and they hate all Christians because they abandoned the old faith. The story underlines their pre-Christian origin, which is, even after all this time, still very much part of the way we imagine the world. Also, sorry if you hear jingling. Yes, my doggo is here. She loves to interrupt, especially when I'm recording. Anyway, whether you consider them good or bad though, apparently don't refuse an invitation to dance, and don't be caught snooping. There are even more legends about them in Plopen, in Constanta County, where they are too beautiful to be looked at. In others, they are attracted to young ladies who suffer from love. Perhaps to lure her into their group, I'm not sure. Either way, Plopen has their own specific version of events. In popular folklore, the Iele are closely related to the Feast of Pentecost. There are many stories about the sleeping shepherds outside and find the next day surrounded by a circle of paralyzed grass. Of course, they've never been the same. In the morning, they've been found paralyzed, dumb, or deaf. Also, those who work on the day of the Pentecost are punished. Stories speak of mini swirls that appear out of the blue and hit the household, raising air from fan heads to animals and even humans. To please the Iele, people dedicated festival days to them. The Rusalil, the Stratul, the Sfredul, the Bulkil Rusalir, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing all these wrong, the 9 days after Easter, the Marina, etc. Anyone not respecting these holidays was said to suffer the revenge of the Iele. Men and women who worked during these days would be lifted in spinning vertigo. People and cattle would suffer mysterious deaths or become paralyzed and crippled. Hail would fall, rivers would flood, trees would wither, you name it, even houses would catch fire. People also invented cures against the Iele, either preventative or exorcistic in nature. Garlic and mugwort worn around the waist, in the bosom, or hung from the hat, or hanging the skull of a horse on a pole in front of the house. Not sure how effective that would be, but nonetheless, it seems like everything was tried. At least in this village of Plopen, people do seem to take the Iele pretty seriously. Or, well, they used to anyway. I wasn't able to find any modern sightings of them, though they have apparently been discussed on an episode of Destination Truth in somewhat recent years. Of course, this could be because they go by so many different names or share so many similarities with Nordic elves. Once again, though not much is known about them, they're described as being captivatingly beautiful, more beautiful than the sun, with a spirit-like figure. Elves are also said to be about the height of a human or just above, and they're thought to have long lives or even be immortal. With the introduction of the Christian faith, their popularity dwindled, but when you read about them from the later Christian period, you may hear about them being seen at night, dancing over meadows and marshes and the circles that they leave behind. Said circles are still known today as elf dances in Sweden. Yet, though it seems like there's surely no truth in this, we do have proof of these circles, rings of mushrooms that crop up throughout the world. A traditional Scottish rhyme talks about them as such. He wha tills the fairies green, nae luck again shall hae, and he wha spills the fairies' rings, betide him want and way. For weirdless days and weary nights are till his day and day, but when he wha gaes by fairy ring, na dule nor pine shall see, and he wha cleans the fairy ring, an easy death shall dee. Yet, these fairy rings aren't caused by fairy mushrooms at all, or by fairy dances, but from a fungus known as mycelium. It grows underground and outward in a circle. As it grows, it steals nutrients from the soil and therefore starves the grass above, which is why the fairy ring has dead grass, or a burned spot to begin with. Then the budding umbrella-shaped fruits, or mushrooms, just grow above the perimeter of the fungus. So, does this mean that fairy rings were literally just created to explain away this really strange fungus? Honestly, that might just be the case. I don't want to assume that, but just glancing at this strange fairy ring or elf circle, yeah, it looks kind of bizarre. So it's not too far-fetched to think that ages ago, people may have just made up stories about spirits dancing in a circle to make it make sense to them. It sure seems possible. As possible as elves dancing in a circle does anyway, right? Anyway, that's my theory on it. After all, the mushroom circle does have a logical explanation, and it is still known as elf circles or fairy rings, and that does seem to be the lore behind a lot of them. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are these fairy rings and eels or elves really just invented to explain away a fungus that looks a little bit odd? I'm really curious to know what you think in the comments, so let me know down below. Give it a like if you liked this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Soon we'll hit 500. If we're not there already by the time of this video, then hopefully we will be soon, and thank you so much for 500 when it does come. As for my absence last week, I'm sorry about that. I've been a little bit sick, but hoping to get back into the swing of things, possibly add in a Tuesday. I know I've said that before. It's really just kind of my health that's keeping that from happening right now. But thank you so much for your patience. Thank you to all of you that watch, and I'll see you again next time. Bye, guys!